Follow me. Let's have some fun. Hi Pathfinders, we're at another special spot here in Gillette, Wyoming. It's called the Rockpile Museum. We'll show you some more details in just a moment. You might have seen my friend here. Doesn't eat much, but stays right here at the museum year round, I guess. I don't know. So let's go into the Rockpile Museum. Talk to you later. Hi Pathfinders, I'm here at the Rockpile Museum. We'll tell you how this museum got its name in a few minutes. But I'm here with a VIP, very important person. Sir, what's your name and what do you do here at the Rockpile Museum?
Yes, I'm Robert Henning. I'm the director here at the Rockpile Museum.
Great, great. So you're the director, you're in charge of everything.
Yes.
So you're gonna allow me, I see some bars of gold and things, I can take those today home with me, is that true?
Well, we can investigate them. I don't know about take them home.
Okay, we'll try to check that out. We'll talk about that later, about collections. I see some license plates actually. Yeah. You can keep the gold. The license plates are beautiful. I collect license plates.
Yeah, we've got a wonderful collection. Wyoming license plates, of course, are iconic because of the cowboy, the bucking horse.
What's the oldest license plate you have, just for the fun of it?
We have a 1914. The first official year that the state produced license plates was 1913. We do not have a 1913. If anybody out there in Pathfinder land has a 1913, we would love to have it. Please donate it to the museum.
Now, Wyoming's kind of a unique state. It has a lot of interesting history. There was something with women's vote or the suffrage movement or something. Tell us what the history is there with Wyoming.
Well, Wyoming, when it was a territory, was, for a lot of reasons, trying to grow, trying to get women to come out here. It was a very male-dominated state. One of the techniques they used was they were the first state to grant women suffrage. Wow. 1869, Wyoming gave full suffrage to women. A lot of firsts in Wyoming, you know, first national park, first national monument, first suffrage, first fully female city council, I believe in Jackson. A lot of firsts.
This museum is amazing. It feels very intimate. It doesn't feel like those big highbrow museums where you can't touch anything or get close to anything or whatever, but it's very interactive. How long has the museum existed?
The Rockpile Museum opened in 1974, and it was really began as a homesteaders museum. Started to collect that homestead era material because the community was changing drastically in 1974. Beginning really in 1959 and into the 60s, we had an oil boom. And then in the 70s, the coal mines opened. And so the community was changing very, very fast. And there was a reaction to that to say, hey, we need to collect the history, the stories, the objects important to the first generations of Campbell County residents.
Great history.
Yep.
Now, I got to answer this question. Pathfinders around the world want to know, Rockpile Museum, Rockpile. Now, who calls their museum a rock pile? I mean, well, yeah, Gillette, Wyoming does, but what's the background?
Yeah, we get those questions all the time. Why is there a museum about a rock pile? Or how many rocks am I going to see in the Rockpile Museum? You might see a few rocks. We are actually named after a local landmark that is known as the Rockpile. Originally it was actually known as Stone Pile because the creek down through this drainage was Stone Pile Creek, and that's right where the railroad came in 1890. And so Stone Pile was eventually turned into Rockpile for some reason. Just a community calls the Rockpile, and was out here on the western edge of town. We had the fairgrounds down below, we had the stockyards, so it was kind of prominent on this edge of town. And so when this property became available in 1971, 72, they said, well, why don't we put the museum next to the Rockpile?
Oh, makes sense.
And so they did, yeah.
So back in the 1800s, I'm in my wagon or my horse coming across the plains, and I'm trying to find Gillette, Wyoming. I know I've arrived at Gillette when I saw the Rockpile. Now, if I was a 12-year-old kid, I'm 12 years old and I'm coming to the Rockpile Museum, what's one of the highlights, or maybe one or two highlights, that when you see a 12-year-old come into the museum, they want to go see right away?
Absolutely. So we've got a rifle collection.
Oh.
I'm thinking of 12-year-old boys, right?
Right.
Great rifle collection, over 100 rifles on display.
Oh.
Some smaller arms, pistols, revolvers, but a really nice collection of historic firearms. None of them are used anymore. We've got a great saddle collection, wagons, kind of that Old West material that you think of. Maybe if you're a young lady, you like some of our costume collections, so our historic clothing. Or maybe you like the spear points and the arrowheads that tell you the story of the early inhabitants, the indigenous people of this region. So there's just a lot, I think, that people can get excited about.
Tell me a little bit about First Nation, the indigenous people that were here before all the settlers came.
Yeah.
Give me a little history lesson there. What's their background?
So we have great evidence of different people groups moving through here. Of course, stone artifacts, hearths. We have a great hearth in here, so an oven that they cooked in. We've had studies done on the foods they were eating, what they were hunting. We have a bison kill site here in the county. So that's very interesting. That's the prehistoric story. In more recent times, in historic times, we've identified at least 10 different tribes that use the Powder River Basin.
Tell me a little bit about Gillette, Wyoming, beyond the museum. Why do you like living here? What is it that you value about this community?
You know, it's a lot of things. It's the people first and foremost, great people, hardworking folks. They want their community to prosper, to grow. So that's wonderful. And they're very welcoming. I think you found that out.
Yes.
And people come from all over, really, to work in Gillette, and a lot of them stay because of that welcoming feeling. Also, the amenities we have, you know, from great museums to a wonderful rec center. The schools are amazing, great teachers, you know, the wonderful downtown, all the businesses. So there's just something for everybody here.
The sunsets are gorgeous.
Yes.
I saw a beautiful one coming in last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love the sunsets. And there's so much to celebrate and value about Gillette, Wyoming. I would say, reflecting on the Rockpile Museum and what you do for the community, there's a wisdom thought that says, you know, as you celebrate and understand the past, it gives you a present and a future. And I believe this museum represents an example of the future of Gillette, Wyoming. It's going to be very bright, very strong.
Well, thank you.
And the Pathfinders, by the way, are excited to come and visit your museum. We'll bring a few of them. Not all of them are coming to the museum, but a few are.
We are very excited to have you all here. We are planning to have a lot more interactive exhibits and programs. We want to immerse you in what it is, what Campbell County is. Immerse you in our history, get your hands on the history, and not just read it and see it, but experience it.
And is there some kind of an anniversary or something being celebrated right before we arrive in 2024? Is that true?
Yes, in July 21st, 2024, so that's what, 2 weeks before you get here, approximately, we will be celebrating the museum's 50th anniversary.
Really?
So the museum will have been here 50 years, and so you'll get to celebrate with us.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
And of course, Pathfinders want me to ask this question. Can they purchase some souvenir pins here of the museum when they come to visit?
Yes, we have several different pins. We've got the Wyoming bucking horse, Wyoming state flag pin, and our favorite is the Rockpile Museum logo pin.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yep.
Can I? Is there one available today for just me?
There is.
Just for me.
Yep.
Well, Pathfinders, I think I've cut a deal. That means we have to go now. I've got my pin. You got to come here and get your pin. And can you say bye-bye, camera?
Bye-bye, camera.
Bye-bye.